All right, welcome back, guys. We have patch 9.16B that came out for TFT. And yeah, I'm surprised that it came out this early, actually. Let's take a look at nerfs and buffs. So, brawlers, their bonus health went down to 250, 500, and 900. So, they lost about 100 health points when you're at 6. And even when you have 4 brawlers, now they all lose 100 health points. So, I think this nerf was definitely necessary for the brawlers. They were definitely a little bit too strong. They had a little bit too much free bonus health, so I agree with this. And here's the champion nerf. So Draven's health goes down to 650. Attack damage goes down to 770. And honestly, I actually don't know if Draven needed a nerf, personally. Out of the Imperials, I felt like Swain is actually the strongest. Yeah, I know Draven can be really, really strong. And I totally agree if Draven did need a bit of the attack damage reduction. But I think the health reduction really was unnecessary. Now he's just going to die faster, really. And I bet you Swain didn't get nerfed in this patch. Well, we'll take a look. So JINX, ability bonus attack speed also went down. This was highly expected. We all knew JINX was going to get nerfed. She was the strongest champion in the game. She was stronger than Draven. That's how strong she was. Rocket damage also went down as well. So she got a huge nerf, actually, because this is a lot. You can see the ratios on the attack speed went down by a lot. Rocket damage also went down a lot as well. So JINX definitely got a huge nerf. And I no longer think she may be the strongest champion in the game with this, for sure. Kayle, shield duration went down as well. So 3 to 2.5 seconds at 2 stars. That's mostly the stage we'll get the Kayle at. We'll never get Kayle to 3 stars. Like, that's just not possible. So, I mean, the 3 stars, we don't even need to talk about that. So, she only really lost a little bit on the shield duration. She's still the same old Kayle. And Kayle at 2 stars is still going to be really strong because she's going to be ulting 2 people at the same time. That's the key right there. Unless they nerf that, unless, Kayle is not ulting two guys at the same time, she's still going to be the same. Maybe Kayle will need a stronger nerf than this. I feel like she's still going to be really, really good. Now, of course, we don't want to nerf Kayle too hard because that's going to make 6 nobles unplayable because most of the nobles suck late game except for Kayle. So I still want to make nobles playable. They're a really good faction. They're also incredibly strong right now. And, I mean, this is why Kayle probably got a nerf. But I think there's maybe going to need... We may need to come to the point where Kayle can't be ulting 2 people at the same time at 2 stars. I still feel like that's really, really strong. To the point where it's just hard to counterplay. Like, when somebody has a 2-star Kayle up, it's so hard to beat him. It's incredibly difficult. So maybe instead of ulting 2 people at the same time, we can ult just one guy and have the shield duration to like 4 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least then you can kill the other champion and not be able to kill 2 champions, right? So anyways, that's how I feel. I don't know what you guys think about it, but let me know in the comments below. And Lucian's ability damage got reduced at 1 and 2 stars. So he got a nerf, basically, because most of the times we're not going to get Lucian to 3 stars unless you're going for a gunslinger build, full out gunslinger build, and you hyper roll Lucian into 3 stars. You may get a 3-star Lucian if you're lucky at the end of the game. But this is essentially just a nerf, I guess, on his ability power damage. I guess they thought the Luden's Echo combo was too strong. And if you guys know what Luden's Echo does, it does spell damage. It does extra damage on hit. And Lucian would do a lot of it if you stacked Ludens on him, or if you gave him even just 1 Ludens, he would do a lot of damage. I thought Lucian was quite strong with 1 Luden's Echo, even just 1. I don't know if he needed this nerf necessarily. This will definitely make him weaker. And overall, with Lucian and JINX being nerfed, both of them being the strongest gunslingers in the game, definitely is going to make the gunslingers a little bit less stronger, or quite a bit less stronger. Gunslingers might not be so dominant anymore because they were quite dominant in 9.16 with the addition of JINX. And then finally, we have Vi. Her mana got increased to 50 to 75. I mean, you'll start with 75 mana, but her overall mana cost got increased to 150. So the second time she casts her ult, it will take a lot longer time. And I guess Vi needed this nerf, I guess, as well, because her ultimate was quite strong. Assault and Battery. Once again, hitting the last guy in the row of your team pretty much kills whatever carries at your back. I've noticed Vi to be quite good at taking down carries. And I think, I'm not sure if Vi needed this mana nerf. That I don't know if I really agree with this. I've never really had that much of a problem with Vi throughout patch 9.16 to agree with this nerf on her, because now this might make brawlers a lot less playable. Like 6 brawlers, like 4 brawlers is probably still gonna be okay, but 6 brawlers is probably not a thing anymore. I mean, it could be, but now Vi's going to take a lot longer to use her assault and battery a second time and a third time, right? She might only get ult once off and then she dies. Before, she got to use her ult like 2 or 3 times. And I thought that was fine. I mean, but I guess Riot thought it was too strong, or people were complaining about it. So I don't know if I really entirely agree with this mana nerf on Vi. Okay, let's take a look at the champion buff. Aatrox's spell damage went up. So 250 to 300. 2 stars is the same, but 3 stars it goes down from 950 to 900. Interesting. So I guess they call this a buff. I guess you don't really get Aatrox to 3 stars that often, so he's just stronger at 1 star, I guess. Anivia health went up to 700. I agree with that, because Anivia I felt like was the worst 5 gold champion in patch 9.16, mainly due to her health points. And this is why I would use Lissandra sometimes if I went for an Elementalist build. Lissandra at 2 stars had like 800 something health, and Anivia only had 650. And the problem with Anivia is that she doesn't use her Glacial Storm fast enough, so she just dies. Like if you don't give her items, she just dies before she can get her ult off in the late game. And there's a lot of strong champions out there in the late game, so her getting a health increase is definitely something I think that's good. And it's going to make Anivia more playable as well. Gnar's bonus attack damage on transform went up. So by 20 points at 1 star, 40 points at 2 stars, and at 3 stars by 60 points. Wow, so he actually got a lot of bonus attack damage here. This was a pretty big nerf for Gnar. I'm sorry, pretty big buff for Gnar. Yeah, he's going to be a lot stronger at 2 stars for sure. Plus 40 attack damage is a lot. And Gnar, yeah, it was one of those champions that was pretty much never being used, because shapeshifters, even though they got some new add-ons with Jace isn't that incredibly powerful. He's just average. And Gnar is a wild, and wilds are not amazing. Even with the buff, like after buffs and buffs, wilds are just still underperforming. They're still not consistent. So, I mean, it's good to see Gnar getting a buff. I guess we'll see a bit more playability. I'm just afraid he's going to be too strong. I just don't like to see a very strong Gnar. He's very hard to deal with. And Misfortune's ability power damage went up. So, at 1 star, it went up to 900. 100 points of extra damage. 2 stars went up by 50 points of extra damage. So, not all gunslingers got a nerf. We got a Misfortune that got a buff. And some people were saying that Misfortune was one of the worst 5 gold champions in the game. I think it was Anivia. I would play Misfortune in a gunslinger build, right? Because she would still fit in the gunslinger composition. And honestly, 800, 1250 damage is like a lot of damage. I think bullet time was pretty good. I mean, just seeing this extra buff on her is pretty good, because Lucian and JINX got nerfed. So, we got to have maybe another gunslinger that's stronger. Misfortune being the most expensive gunslinger, it makes sense that she should be the strongest, because if you're costing 5 gold, you shouldn't be weaker than a 2 gold gunslinger. And I've always thought Lucian to be a bit stronger than Misfortune. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad to see actually this buff on Misfortune, because they've nerfed the other 2. So why not buff the strongest gunslinger in the game, which she is supposed to be the strongest gunslinger anyways. So yeah, this is a pretty good buff on Misfortune. I agree with it. And then we have Morgana here. Armor went up to 30. Ability power damage went down at 1 star to 175, and at 2 stars as well, and at 3 stars. Okay, so ability power damage just completely got nerfed, and armor went up by 10. So she survives a little bit longer. She's a tanky mage, but she got reduction in her ability power damage. I think Morgana did a lot of damage with Soul Shackle. I do agree with it. I just don't know if I agree with this nerf on Morgana. Like, yeah, you got more armor, but I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a buff. Like, I don't really agree with this. Morgana is supposed to be a high damage mage, but I guess she's just gonna doing a bit less damage. And now we have Shen as well. He got his health increased to 700. Okay, yeah, Shen almost never gets used unless you do Blade Masters, which is not very common to see. So he gets a buff on his health. And Luden's Echo went down to 180. So apparently Luden's Echo was too strong. Once again, I think Luden's Echo was quite strong on certain champions. And I guess it needed a nerf, but I've never really ran into a lot of problems with this. Once again, I've faced the Luden's Echo sometimes. Like, it's still not built that often for me to just say this is a straight up OP item, or it was, but I guess it was, and I got a nerf. And then we got some bug fixes here. Further adjustments to in-game matchmaking to prevent seeing the same opponents often. You know, this still happens quite often, okay? So Riot said we would almost never see the same opponent like 2 or 3 times in a row, but it still happens. Or it's not just like 2 times in a row, but you'll meet the same guy within the next 2 to 4 rounds. That means you still didn't fight everyone else. Like, if there's 8 players in the game, you fight the same guy, and then you fight him after 2 more rounds. Like, that's pretty much fighting him 2 times in a row. So, you know, they really need to adjust the system in a way where we do not fight the guy until we fight everybody else in the game. So please, Riot, like, just work on it. This should just not be happening. You know, fighting the same guy in like 2 to 3 within 2 to 3 rounds, it sucks. Like, especially if you're gonna lose to him anyways, like, you're just gonna lose to him again, right? You're not gonna be in that position to beat him after 2 rounds. And then the Hextech trait now disables Ionic Spark for the appropriate 8 seconds. Okay, so apparently Hextech didn't disable Ionic Spark for a while, but there you go. What do you guys think about these buffs, nerfs, and the fixes? I mean, they were pretty obvious, like, this stuff was going to happen. Honestly, I'm not sure if DRAVEN was the one that needed a nerf. I think Swain is stronger than DRAVEN. Like, honestly, if Swain is built with the right items, especially like Dragon's Claw and Guardian Angel, like, he's just unkillable. DRAVEN is totally killable. So I don't know. I don't really agree, especially with a DRAVEN thing right here. Like, he needed maybe an attack damage reduction, but I think the health reduction was unnecessary. That, I think, was unnecessary. This reminds me of Kayle. When Kayle got nerfed twice, she also got her health reduced to like 600 or something, and like, she's never played anymore, right? You know, the problem is when your health becomes too low, and these are late game champions, they come out in the late game, they just die too fast. That's the problem. And that's why you barely see Kayle being played, because she's so weak. Kayle at 1 star, she just dies. 2 stars, she's good, but 1 star, she just sucks. If you don't give her the items, if you don't have the right composition, she sucks. She'll still work as a 1 star, but in the late game, she just dies really fast with that little amount of health. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Remember to leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time.